When we were at the field, back in my high school days, my friends and I had a special place where we used to hang out. It was this old baseball field behind the abandoned elementary. Back in my high school days, my friends and I had a special place where we used to hang out. It was this old baseball field behind the abandoned elementary school. We always thought that one day we'd show up and there would be construction workers tearing the place down, but that never happened. At least not during our childhood. We all assumed it was because our town was too poor, which was probably true, but it also was exactly a prime location for any kind of real estate investment. It was built along the edge of the woods, far from most of the town, practically in the middle of nowhere, just like the rest of our boring town. What made it fun for us was that no one else went there. People would sometimes break into the school and paint graffiti on the walls. Sure, and the police would show up occasionally, but they never went near the baseball field. It was a safe haven for our group of friends, and that really mattered because a lot of my friends didn't have good home lives, especially one of them, Tim. His mom would call the cops for whatever reason came to her mind that day, but when we were at the field, none of that could reach us. We used to spend long summer nights sitting across the rusty bleachers, smoking, talking about whatever nonsense came to mind. I loved that place. Honestly, we all did. But even before everything happened, there was one thing that always bothered me. The old lamp that somehow still worked. The city must have forgotten about it. It was one of those lights that glowed orange. And because it was the only light out there, we were always surrounded by it. It didn't illuminate much either. Whenever I got tired, I'd stare into the pitch black woods around us, thinking about how someone or something could be watching us without us ever noticing. It bothered me more than I like to admit, but eventually someone would tell a joke or distract me and I'd forget the thought. At least for a while, I still wonder how many times we were actually watched. I guess I'll never know. At the beginning of summer, one night, Johnny and I were heading to the field. I must have left before him because when I arrived, his car wasn't there. I decided to start without him and go to the field alone. That was something our group didn't like doing. Even though we all thought we were tough, walking through a small forest alone at night wasn't exactly our style. But I always enjoyed the thrill. I passed the school and crossed the woods until I reached the field. I waited about 10 more minutes, but he didn't show up, so I started smoking. Another 30 minutes passed, and still nothing. By then, the excitement was gone. I decided to walk back to my car. I ended up running, because something just didn't feel right. I texted him several times, but he never replied. I waited 10 more minutes in my car, then drove home. When I woke up, he still hadn't replied. I was a little annoyed, but I didn't think much of it until my mom later asked if I had seen Johnny recently. I called all our friends, but they knew exactly what I knew. The last time we saw him was 2 nights earlier at the field. A day passed, then another. Soon the whole town knew. Search parties started. My friends and I even joined some of them, but we never found him. No one did. To this day, his body was never found. At the time, I tried convincing myself that he just ran away. He was adventurous. He always talked about wanting to travel the world, how this town suffocated him. But deep down, I knew he wouldn't leave like that. He would have at least left a message for us. Maybe scribbled something on the bleachers, where only we would find it. About a month later, I went back to the field. Alone this time. I was so angry at the world that I didn't care if animals came out of the woods and attacked me. But as soon as I reached the end of the forest path, I noticed people sitting on the bleachers. For a moment, I thought they were my friends. After all, we never saw anyone else out there before. But they weren't. I had never seen those people before in my life. 3 of them were sitting on the bleachers, completely still, like statues. But they weren't the ones who unsettled me. There was a 4th guy. He was dancing, jumping around. His happiness bothered me. It wasn't normal happiness. Back then I thought maybe he was high on something. Now I think he was insane. And the worst part was, he looked familiar. I couldn't place him. It was like seeing a stranger in a dream. You know you've seen him before, but you can't remember where. I couldn't handle it. The whole scene was too weird. I backed away quietly and as quickly as I could. Thankfully, none of them followed me. At least, I don't think they did. Back at my car, all I wanted to do was speed away. But I didn't follow my instinct. Instead, I drove around the school parking lot. In the back corner, I saw a car. I recognized the model immediately. It was the same kind Johnny drove. But the moment I saw it, its headlights turned on. I panicked and sped out of there. Throughout the rest of the summer, I couldn't get them out of my head. I told my friends, and they agreed it was weird, but they didn't think much of it. I even stopped going to the field because of them. One day in late July, I was missing Johnny more than usual. I decided to look through the yearbook for memories, and that's when I saw him. He was in the background of a sports team photo, a janitor. When I flipped the page, I knew it instantly. It was him. Same face, same hair. He was a dancing man. I couldn't believe it. I told all my friends, but they had no idea what we were supposed to do. Eventually, I went to the police. I'm sure they thought I was crazy, but they still looked into his background. At least that's what they told me. They found nothing. Even his social security number led to nothing. I tried searching myself, but I came up empty too. The man was a ghost. As summer neared its end, I went back to the field with some friends. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every time I looked into the deep woods, fear crept back into me. I missed the feeling that place used to give me, but I knew it was gone forever. It wasn't home anymore. One early morning near the end of summer, I was at Dunkin' Donuts. I was half awake when I saw him. The dancing man, the janitor. He looked exactly the same. At first, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me, but the more I stared, the more certain I became. Then he saw me, and he smiled. He rushed out of the store. I ran after him, but one of his friends was waiting at the curb. He jumped in the car, and they sped off before I could reach them. But what terrified me more than anything else was the license plate. It was Johnny's. I knew it because he had a unique plate for POC 207. It was the same car I saw a month earlier. Then it hit me. That was Johnny's car. It had been repainted, which is why I didn't recognize it instantly. I should have noticed. I still blame myself for that. I never saw Johnny again, or the car. Today, everything is just a memory I wish I could forget. Rest in peace, Johnny. It was the summer of 2024, and my three friends, Jake, Sam, and Marcus, and I were desperate for a break from our training at the Kennedy Space Center. We had been drowning in rocket data for weeks. But as star-obsessed nerds, all we wanted was one clear night under an open sky. We studied light pollution maps in Google Earth until we found a remote clearing deep inside Tate's Forest Preserve, a swampy, abandoned stretch in the Florida Panhandle. The place was named after an old legend about sea. Tate, a settler who vanished in the swamp in the 1800s, supposedly cursed. We ignored that. Ghost stories were for kids. We just wanted the stars. Our safe spot was a cozy Airbnb cabin near Apalachicola, about 30 miles from the forest's edge. After work on Friday, we took my Tesla Model Y and Marcus's Mustang, loaded with blankets, snacks, and a telescope. No camping gear. We were sleeping in the cabin anyway. The 7-hour drive from the Space Center was exhausting. We arrived at the Airbnb late, tossed our bags inside, grabbed a quick bite, and headed back out. The final stretch into Tate's Hell was brutal. Narrow dirt roads twisting between thick pine trees and gloomy wetlands. The air heavy with the scent of cicadas, an occasional splash somewhere in the dark water. With no cell service, we used walkie-talkies to stay connected between cars, their static biting through the silence. Around 2 a.m., we arrived at the clearing, tired and jittery. The sky was breathtaking. The stars looked close enough to touch. We spread the blankets, set up the telescope, and settled in. 15 minutes later, Sam's voice crackled over the walkie from a Mustang. "Dude, do you see those headlights?" A knot tightened in my stomach. We turned. A faint light crawled along the road we came from, 40 miles from the nearest town, at 2 in the morning, in the middle of a massive forest. No one should be here. Whoever it was wasn't good news. Jake, sitting with me in the Tesla, grabbed his radio. "Turn on the headlights. Let's see what they do." I flashed the Tesla's headlights. 3 sharp bursts. A rusty, battered old pickup truck rolled to a stop about 100 yards away. No honk, no wave, nothing. Then we saw them, figures stepping out. 2, maybe 3. Hard to make out in the glare. They just stood there, staring. And then we heard it. Soft, low, distorted murmurs drifting across the swamp. Whispers we couldn't make sense of. "This is bad." Marcus yelled over the radio. Sam sounded panicked. "Those sounds. Nobody's out here at 2 a.m. for anything good." I waved my flashlight, but its beam barely cut through the shadows. The whispers continued. Thin, sinister, crawling under the skin. Jake tried to stay calm. "Probably locals. Let's just move." We agreed over the walkies to find another spot, and made a rule. If those lights showed up again, we'd sprint straight back to the Airbnb. We veered off the main road. Anyone following us now was doing it on purpose. We sped a mile down a side path and found another clearing. Just blankets and tension. 5 minutes later, Marcus's voice cut through the radio. Urgent. "They're back." My heart slammed inside my chest. The same headlights carved through the darkness. Closer now. Then the engine revved loud, a deliberate, threatening roar. Sam shouted, "Get us out of here." We scrambled into the cars, Jake and I in the Tesla, Marcus and Sam in the Mustang. I floored it. The Tesla bounced over roots, branches scraping underneath like claws. The headlights behind us stuck to our tail, their high beams blinding me in the rear view. Jake was shouting into the walkie, "Marcus, you good?" Barely, they're right there. 4 young trainees, helpless, 40 miles from safety, in some place literally called Tate's Hell. You don't meet good people here at 2 a.m. I pushed the Tesla to its limits, Marcus close behind. The road twisted one way, and for a split second, the truck's lights vanished. I hoped we'd lost them, but they came back, closer, as if they were playing with us, as if they knew we had nowhere to run. We hit a fork in the path. I swerved left, praying it led to the main road. The truck followed. Finally, after minutes of panic, the dirt road shifted into pavement, and a faded highway sign appeared up ahead. I glanced back, expecting the headlights, but the darkness was empty. Marcus pulled the Mustang up beside us. We stopped on the roadside, gasping for breath, staring into the trees. The only sounds were the night insects and the soft crackle of the walkies. The drive back to the Airbnb was silent. We stumbled into the cabin and locked the door, but even that safe haven felt wrong after what happened. Who were they? We had theories. Illegal hunters, drug runners, or someone tied to the old legend of Tate's Hell. At 2 a.m. in a place like that, nobody comes out for fun. The way they watched us, the way they followed without rushing, it felt like they wanted us scared. We never went back. We don't talk about it. Not at the Space Center. Not anywhere. But when I drive alone through Florida's empty roads at night, I feel like some part of me is forever more alert, forever looking over my shoulder, asterisk, asterisk. In December 2023, I spent a 3-week vacation in Japan. My family owns a hotel near the small mountain town of Kaga Onsen in western Japan. It was a large traditional ryokan built on the hillside beside the Daishoji River. The area around the hotel had been inhabited for at least 2,000 years, and it was considered sacred. My father once told me that during the hotel's construction, the builders discovered 2 ancient stone blocks and pillars at the site. It seemed that some sort of shrine had stood there around the 9th century. The last time I stayed at that hotel was more than 15 years ago, so I was eager to relive the experience. I also love exploring, and remember my father's story. I decided to take a hike into the forest below the hotel, hoping to find traces of the old ruins he mentioned. As soon as I reached nearby Kanazawa City, I rented a car from an agency next to the train station and drove to the hotel. The snow was falling heavily and traffic was terrible. The drive that should have taken an hour became 2. I arrived around 8 a.m. and let myself inside. The hotel was almost empty in December. Tourists rarely visit that part of Japan in winter. There were no staff members anywhere. I realized I was the only person in the entire building. It felt strangely unsettling to be alone inside such a huge structure in the middle of an isolated place. I grabbed one of the keys behind the counter, entered one of the suites, and stayed the night. The next day, I went into the forest below the hotel. The snow was deep, up to my ankles, and walking on uneven ground in my boots was torture. I must have walked quite far enough to lose my sense of direction. I checked my phone, no signal at all. I had been walking for about an hour, completely unsure where I was. I was surrounded by trees in every direction, and directly in front of me was a large hill. I figured climbing it might help me get a better vantage point. The ascent was incredibly difficult. The slope was steep and rocky, but on my left, I noticed what looked like the remains of a path. I slowly approached it. It was a winding dirt trail heading toward the top. It was partially blocked by dead branches, but I eventually reached the summit. Then I realized the path simply ended. It stopped abruptly. Looking around, I spotted a small hollow in the hillside above the path, hidden among plants about 5 meters away. I climbed up and found myself standing before the entrance of a small cave. Some mud had seeped inside, but the opening was wide enough for me to squeeze through. I had a small flashlight with me, so I shone it inside. I saw a small chamber directly ahead, and another narrow opening to the left. The moment I stepped inside, a strange smell washed over me. I can't describe it exactly. Something like the scent of an animal enclosure at a zoo. The small chamber ahead was empty except for a large rectangular stone block placed in its center. As I ventured deeper into the cave, I reached a much larger stone chamber. 2 side tunnels branched off from it, though I didn't explore them. There was another rectangular stone block on the far end of the chamber, this one hollow. I moved closer. To my shock, I saw human bones inside the hollow block. Around them were a long steel piece and several old bronze coins, the kind with a square hole in the middle. I stood there in a trance of disbelief. I reached out and picked up on the coins. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe. The coin was ancient and eroded, but some markings were still visible. Before I could inspect it further, a loud crashing noise echoed from deep inside one of the side tunnels. I immediately pointed my flashlight toward the sound. The foul smell grew stronger, thick enough to make the air feel toxic. For some reason, I grabbed a long steel piece lying among the bones, holding in one hand like a weapon. Under the flashlight beam, it looked like the remains of a long blade. I began backing toward the entrance, but the smell changed. This time, I smelled smoke beneath the stench. Then I heard it, rhythmic beats coming from the depths of the tunnel, like someone striking a drum. That was when I completely lost it. I bolted out of the cave and toward the opening. As I ran, I swear the entire cave shook beneath my feet. I leaped from the entrance onto the slope and crashed onto the snow-covered ground. I dropped the blade but didn't dare pick it up. I kept running down the hill, crashing through dead branches. I ran and ran until I heard the faint sound of a passing car. Eventually, I stumbled out onto a roadside. I collapsed onto the ground in relief. I managed to flag down a passing driver. He hesitated at first, but let me in after seeing how shaken I was. During a short conversation, I learned I had wandered far, about 4 miles from the hotel. Eventually, I made it back. I hurried to my room, packed my bags, and drove away. I didn't feel safe being the only person in that hotel. I returned to Kanazawa and stayed there for the night. But there is more to this story. When the hotel reopened in February, I received a text from my father. He said someone had broken into the hotel through one of the first floor windows. Surprisingly, nothing was damaged or stolen, except for the door of my room. It had been smashed apart by a sharp metal tool. I don't know if it's connected to what happened in that cave, but I know one thing. I am never staying in that hotel again. Asterisk, asterisk. In the depths of an old neighborhood, far from the eyes of the world, lies an abandoned house. Everyone fears to go near it, for legends say that darkness dwells within its walls. But for one young man, Samer, mystery is not fear, it is an insatiable curiosity. On a dark night, he decided to uncover the secrets of this place himself. What will he find behind the creaking doors? And what dark secrets hide within the basement room? Get ready to journey with us into a world of horror and mystery, where every step could be your last, and every shadow hides something unimaginable. In an old neighborhood, far from the eyes of the world, there was an abandoned house. Everyone was afraid to go near it, but Samer was not like the others. He was curious and loved exploring the unknown. One dark night, he decided to go to the house. He took an old flashlight with him. The air was unnaturally cold. The wind whistled through the old trees. The creaking doors made scary noises. When he arrived at the house, he noticed a broken window. The front door was half open. Samer pushed the door slowly. A long creak filled the place. His steps echoed between the dark walls. Dust covered the entire floor. Everything seemed abandoned and silent, but he felt something strange in the air. Soft whispers started reaching his ears. Samer, Samer. His heart started beating fast. He looked around. There was no one. He continued slowly. The light from his flashlight was weak. In a dark corner, he noticed a small wooden door. The door had strange symbols carved on it. They seemed to warn against entering. Samer did not dare to step back. He pushed the door slowly. The door made a long, scary creak. The basement was completely dark. A foul smell spread through the place. The walls were covered with strange marks. Some marks looked like blood. The air became heavier. His steps echoed in the frightening silence. Suddenly, he heard another door moving. He looked around anxiously, but there was no one. The blood on the walls started moving. Then it disappeared as if it was never there. Samer tried to escape, but the stairs he came down vanished. He became trapped in the basement. The darkness grew stronger. Strange whispers spoke his name. Samer, you will never leave. His heart pounded. The light from his flashlight started fading. A black shadow suddenly appeared before him. The shadow slowly approached. Samer tried to scream, but his voice vanished. The walls started glowing with strange symbols. The symbols formed threatening words. You will never escape. Fear overtook his heart. The shadow grew larger and more powerful. Samer tried to run, but all directions were blocked. The air became very heavy. Muffled screams were heard from everywhere. The flashlight suddenly shone brightly. The shadow vanished suddenly. Complete silence fell over the place. Samer felt a temporary relief, but he noticed something on his hand. A strange mark was engraved on his skin. He began to feel intense fear. He decided to leave the basement. The stairs suddenly reappeared. He climbed the stairs quickly, reached the house's ground floor. Everything seemed normal, as if nothing had happened. The wind still whistled outside. Samer felt something was watching him. He looked back. The door closed on its own. His steps on the wooden floor echoed in the silence. His heart was still pounding. He tried to calm down and breathe deeply, but he could not forget the basement. The mark on his hand reminded him of what happened. He felt the mystery was not over yet. Every night, he saw shadows in his dreams. He heard whispers saying, "Samer, come back to us." He tried to ignore them but failed. The choices he made did not leave him alone. The mystery became part of his daily life. Every sound, every movement reminded him of the basement. He stood helpless before the unknown. Every time he passed a haunted house, his heart trembled. He knew something was always watching him. The dark room never left his memory. Some nights, he heard the old door creak, as if the basement was calling him from afar. The blood symbols on the walls appeared in his dreams. Everything around him reminded him of the horror he lived. He tried to pretend he was strong, but feared inside. Even the flashlight reminded him of the darkness. Seymour stayed awake all night. He heard voices others could not hear. The feeling of dread never left him. He knew the basement would always be part of him. The next morning, he stepped out to take a deep breath. The sun did not ease his fear. The house looked normal from the outside, but Seymour knew the hidden truth. The shadow of the basement watched him from afar. The mark on his hand sometimes glowed. Every strange movement reminded him of the room. He tried to stay away, but could not. The memories of that night haunted him everywhere. He feared the basement might follow him again. Weeks later, he returned to explore another basement. The shadows were stronger this time. Whispers said, "Come back!" Seymour. The flashlight trembled in his hand. Every step inside felt like a nightmare. He saw the symbols moving on the walls. Creaking sounds like something approaching. The darkness became alive around him. Seymour felt freezing cold. Every inch of the basement hid terror. He tried to escape, but could not find the exit. The shadows gathered in front of him. Whispers said, "You'll never leave." The mark on his hand glowed strongly. Everything around him became eerie. Seymour felt extremely weak, but something inside him urged him to continue. Steps followed every move he made. The air became charged with fear. He suddenly turned and saw the door closing by itself. Silence filled the place after the creak. He placed his hand on the symbols on the wall. He felt something gently pulling his hand. The black shadow approached quickly. The whispers rose frighteningly. Every part of his body trembled with fear, but he held on to the flashlight tightly. The shadow stopped suddenly and did not move. A strange calm fell over the basement. Seymour breathed slowly. The mark on his hand began to fade gradually. Seymour left the house afterward. The sun started rising slowly. The fear did not completely disappear, but he felt a temporary peace. He knew the basement would always haunt him. Every night, he remembered the horror he lived, but he became stronger after the experience. He learned that mystery is part of life. The memories taught him caution and respect, and Seymour always remained vigilant and ready. It was almost midnight when Valverde stood alone on the platform of Deep Tunnel Station, the one rumored to be haunted. The air was cold, and the wind coming from the tunnels felt like someone breathing behind him. Valverde was returning from work, but something about this night felt wrong. The train arrived slowly, the cars dim and flickering. He stepped in and sat at the very end of the carriage, immediately noticing strange things. An old man was standing in the middle, but his feet weren't touching the floor. Valverde blinked once, and the man disappeared. His heartbeat rose, but he tried to convince himself he was just tired. The train moved deeper and deeper into the tunnels, the darkness swallowing everything. A faint whisper reached his ears, someone calling his name. "Valverde! Valverde!" He looked around. Empty. Completely empty. Suddenly the lights shut off, drowning him in darkness. Footsteps echoed from the far end of the carriage, slow, dragging as the door rattled. When the lights flicked back on, a woman was standing there. Her long, soaked hair covered her face, and her dress dripped water. She stared without blinking, with eyes pitch black like a void. Valverde tried to move, but his body was frozen in place. She stepped forward slowly, water dripping with every step. In a faint voice she whispered, "No one should ride the train after midnight." The door behind her slid open with a crimson glow. Screams filled Valverde's ears. dozens of voices at once. The woman stood inches away from him, smelling of dirt and damp walls. She lifted her hand painfully slow. "Why are you here?" she asked. He couldn't answer. His voice felt stolen. She leaned closer and closer, and suddenly vanished as the lights flared back up. The train stopped at an abandoned station, broken and ancient. Valverde stood, trembling, peering outside. A rusty sign read, "Exit of Spirits." The whispers returned, louder this time. "Leave! You don't belong here." His legs grew heavy, glued to the floor. The lights flickered violently like warning signals. The old man appeared again. Only this time he was inches away with no face at all. Valverde rushed the door with awe. As soon as Valverde stepped onto the abandoned platform, the air felt unnaturally cold. The ground was cracked, and the walls were covered in strange symbols, almost like they were drawn in blood. He looked behind him and saw the train closing its doors slowly, as if retreating from him. Suddenly its lights turned blood red, then vanished into darkness. Valverde felt someone standing behind him, but when he turned, nothing but pitch black. Step after step, he heard footsteps walking right beside him, breathing down his neck. He hurried toward the exit, but the closer he moved, the farther it seemed. The station felt like it was stretching, shifting. A deep voice whispered, "You shouldn't have come here, Valverde." His chest tightened as panic surged through him. The faceless old man appeared again, 10 steps away. But this time he was moving closer, dragging his feet. Every step he took made the floor tremble. Valverde sprinted toward the stairs, but the steps melted, like hot wax dripping in front of him. He was trapped. The only way out was a narrow tunnel on the side. He crawled inside, swallowed by the darkness. Something began chasing him, the sound of heavy breathing inches behind. Then, soft laughter, like a little child giggling. "Come play, Valverde." The words echoed straight into his mind. The tunnel narrowed so much he had to crawl on his elbows. His hand brushed something cold. A hand grabbed his ankle. He kicked violently until the grip loosened. He pushed deeper into the tunnel until he saw a faint glow. He crawled toward it, but realized it wasn't a light. It was an eye, a massive eye staring at him through a metal grate. The pupil widened until it swallowed all the light. A deafening scream filled his head. Suddenly, he was yanked backward with brutal force. He tumbled out of the tunnel, coughing dust. He found himself on another platform, newer but completely empty. On the ground lay an old piece of paper. The only escape is to face it. The moment he picked it up, he heard a train horn approaching. The train came at an impossible speed, like something unleashed from hell. It stopped inches from his face, doors sliding open. A voice whispered, "Get in, your time is up." His strength. He escaped the carriage just before darkness swallowed it again. Valverde stepped into the train, feeling his legs move without his control, like something was pulling him inside. The moment the doors shut, the entire carriage changed instantly. The seats rusted before his eyes, and the walls turned black and scorched. The train sped up violently, as if running from something or towards something. Light flashed for 1 second, darkness for 10. The shadows ruled the place. The woman reappeared, closer this time and far more terrifying. Her face was hidden, but her trembling voice dripped with rage. "You chose this path. Now you must finish it." He tried speaking, but his voice came out distorted, like it belonged to someone else. Suddenly she vanished, replaced by a small child. The child stood silently in the center of the carriage, tears of black ink running down his cheeks. Valverde crouched slowly and asked, "Who are you?" The child whispered, "We're all victims of the metro." The carriage lurched violently, as if sinking through the earth. Valverde felt the floor as screams echoed around him. Though the carriage was empty, the woman returned, hanging from the ceiling by her hair. She moved like her bones were shattered, twisting unnaturally. This train never lets anyone go unless a new sacrifice replaces them. Valverde backed away as panic overtook him. The faceless old man appeared again, this time close enough for his features to form. His face was a merge of multiple screaming faces layered together. The train screeched to a sudden stop, not at a station, but in the middle of a pitch-black tunnel. The doors opened by themselves, icy air stabbing his skin. A deep voice echoed, "Get out, or we will pull you out." Terrified, Valverde hesitated, but something pushed him hard. He landed in the tunnel as the train drifted away. The moment it disappeared, the darkness ahead flickered. A long corridor appeared, filled with silent walking figures. Ghosts drifting forward endlessly. All of them turned their heads toward Valverde. Suddenly a scream erupted from the end of the tunnel, earth-shattering. Every ghost began sprinting toward him. They didn't run, they charged. Valverde bolted, heart exploding in terror. But the tunnel stretched unnaturally, endless. The sound behind him grew closer, closer. His hand struck a massive iron door. It was open just a crack. Behind it was a void of darkness. A whisper rose from inside. "Come, your end is here." Valverde stood before the massive iron door, feeling the world collapse around him. The whispers behind him grew so close he could feel their breath on his neck. He pushed the door open slowly, hearing a loud, painful screech. Behind it was pure emptiness, a deep, unnatural void. He stepped inside hesitantly, and the door slammed shut behind him. He found himself standing in an extremely old station, older than anything he'd seen so far. The place was filled with human statues frozen in terrified poses. He approached one and touched it. It felt like skin. The statue wasn't stone, it was a person. Suddenly the ground shook, and the statues began moving, as if waking from 1,000-year sleep. One approached him and whispered in a broken voice, "We were all like you, running." Valverde stepped back, but the wall behind him sealed shut. A train arrived, but this one was different. Its body was made of breathing, moving skeletons. The doors opened, releasing a cloud of black smoke. The woman's voice returned, "Enter, become one of us. Refuse and they will take you." The statues moved faster now, eyes glowing red, closing in on him. They marched toward Valverde like predators. Through the smoke, the faceless old man appeared again, but this time his face formed clearly. It was Valverde's own face. He said, "I am your future if you stay." Every muscle in Valverde's body froze in terror. He screamed, "I won't be one of you," and he sprinted toward the train. He leapt inside just as the doors slammed shut. The train shot forward at impossible speed, darkness swirling around him. Suddenly, light burst through, and he found himself back at the original station. The clock read 12:01. The station was empty, silent, as if nothing had happened. He stepped out shaking as the lights returned to normal. But as soon as he crossed the exit gate, a whisper echoed behind him. "The metro after midnight never lets anyone go." He spun around. The same child stood on the platform, staring at him. The child smiled and said, "See you tomorrow night." The night above the sea was deceptively calm, fooling even the most sinister spirits. But beneath the water, everything boiled with a terror unseen by anyone. This mission was not a simple rescue. We were searching for divers who vanished inside a cave that was no longer a cave, but gaping stone mouth ready to swallow anyone. The last thing found on the surface were streaks of blood fading with the waves, silent markers of the horror awaiting anyone daring to enter. I put on my gear, feeling the air tighten around me. as if the cave itself was testing my lungs, my hands shaking despite my attempt to remain calm in front of Harris and Leon. The entrance was a black void swallowing our lights. Each step inward made the stones press against my body, the water pressing on my chest as if testing my endurance. I slipped into the cold water, instincts urging me to turn back, but duty does not allow retreat. So I moved slowly into the first passage. Silt rose around my legs, reminding me I was in a world unlike any dive I had ever experienced. The silt moved as if alive, not a current, but something passing slowly beneath my feet. Then I felt a hidden hand brushing my back, spinning my light, but seeing nothing but trembling darkness. We approached the first chamber, wide but suffocating, walls covered in twisted grooves resembling claws, not old but very fresh. My heart pounded uncontrollably. Then the first knocks echoed, tap, 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 as if someone rapped a stone beneath us. I aimed my light deeper, seeing only slight movements in the silt, like something crawling between shadows. Something moved in the silt. Then the helmet of one of the missing divers appeared, body twisted unnaturally. His eyes were pale, suit shredded with long, deep gashes, as if something had grabbed and dragged him. I reported to Harris via radio, his voice shaking for the first time. Then I slowly grasped the corpse to lift it. I felt something brush my back again, cold and long, crawling along my body. I turned but saw only darkness. The silt began to move more violently, not a current, but something massive approaching. Leon's breathing behind me sped up. Then he screamed, muffled, vibrating to the water into my ribs. I swung my light to see him, but he floated motionless, half his mask broken, eyes clouded. Long scratches cut his chest and arms deeply, as if something had dragged and torn him while he sank. I tried swimming toward him, but Harris shouted, "Don't move!" Then his voice vanished as if swallowed by the cave. I was left alone with the corpse, something moving away from the light, massive, cold, unnaturally long. I dragged the diver's body, but another force suddenly yanked half my grip, pulling me downward. I kicked upward to reach the light, but the silt swirled around me like a black storm, seeing nothing but darkness. Each movement churned the water violently. The light beam reached the faint surface lights. We moved toward the surface. I screamed for fresh air. Every second felt like an hour of terror. Upon breaching the surface, Harris was gone, Leon a distant shadow. Corpses shredded, silt now red. Blood rose thick and furious in the air. Everything silently screaming about the deadly cave. Every stone column became a warning. Every mark on the wall a story of death. Despite the mourning, the cave was sealed forever. The truth remained. Harris never emerged. No body, no trace. He left nothing behind, while I knew what had disappeared and what the cave hid. Since that night, whenever I see a deep gouge, I do not advance a step, declaring the situation a total loss. I move further into the maze, each movement pressing the stone against my body, the water growing colder and heavier, as if the cave itself was breathing and holding our breaths. Leon followed, adjusting his weight and gear, but tension was clear in every tremor of his body, my heart quivering with every step into the unknown. Our lights barely illuminated the walls, every dark corner hiding something unnameable, every creak or crack sending chills down my spine. The constant pull of silt on my fins made every step harder, as if the floor itself tried to swallow us. I moved slowly, following the guideline, the only rope between life and death. We reached a narrow bend, barely able to move my arms, the pressure on my chest making each breath difficult. Every bubble from my mouth disappearing into the black water. I felt something move beside me, a cold hand sliding along our helmets. I saw neither Leon nor Harris. Panic creeping in, but I forced myself to control my breathing. We entered a small chamber, the light revealing fresh grooves in the limestone. Strong marks unlike any random scratches or diver equipment marks. I approached the lines, feeling cold on my fingers. Then faint knocks began repeating, as if someone tapped the stone methodically, not a natural water sound. Darkness grew denser. Every move stirred the silt, sounds of water reflecting frightening shapes, as if the cave itself tried to maneuver us toward a hidden trap. I could not contain myself when I saw the first missing diver, twisted and wedged in a crevice. Pale eyes, suit shredded, every scratch telling a story of the terror he endured. I used the radio to inform Harris, my voice muffled by pressure and water. He gave instructions calmly, steadily, as if he knew exactly what was happening. I began pulling the body slowly, every move calculated to avoid stirring the silt, but a strange feeling of pressure around me made me sense something was closely watching us. The silt moved, the water churned. Suddenly something yanked my grip with unnatural strength. I turned and saw nothing but pitch darkness. The first survivor's voice vibrated through the water, a muffled scream, yet he clung to the guideline, holding on to life, his violent movements churning the water terrifyingly. I dragged him along with my light, seeing only his writhing limbs, bubbles erupting from his mouth, every breath a fight against death, body limp and heavy in my hands. This was no ordinary rescue, but a battle for survival. Every second counted. One wrong move could be the last. I felt something moving away from the light. A strange, smooth, pale shape moving swiftly through the rocks and silt. Not a fish, not a diver. Something else. The survivor resisted, but weakly, his struggle sending silt into thick clouds, each movement adding difficulty. We headed toward a narrow passage. Every second felt like an hour, fear rising with every strike, each bubble from our mouths rising swiftly. I noticed a faint flash afar, Leon, entering after me, ready to assist with the corpse while Harris remained at the entrance. The survivor followed my gestures, every move precise, no room for error, water, and darkness enclosing us completely. The strikes drew closer, something moving in the silt, strange and horrifying, a massive body crawling rapidly. Yet we did not stop. The guideline was our lifeline. I slowly dragged the survivor, every move calculated, minimizing pressure, each second bringing us closer to safety at the surface. Sounds and knocks persisted, yet we no longer feared, all focus on the survivor. Every breath controlled, every move deliberate, like parts of a precise machine. We reached a larger chamber, the light from our lamps revealing new passages. Everything seemed worse, but hope of the surface drove us. Blood began to appear in the silt, not thick yet, but an indicator of the terror left by the cave, a reminder that death is always near. We moved slowly, hands gripping the rope, survivor a dead weight dragging us down, but there was no stopping, no retreat. Each movement increased pressure on my body, fingers clenched on the guideline, every bubble echoing in my helmet like a death echo. Then a fleeting moment, the light glimpsed something moving swiftly, a pale body sliding along the wall, disappearing before our minds could name it, panic seeping in. The survivor screamed, each bubble a muffled cry, struggling yet limp and heavy, every muscle trembling, each motion weak. I felt a momentary relief seeing a flash of Leon's mask. He entered after me, ready to support, while Harris watched from afar. The survivor's dead weight became a heavy burden, yet hope kept us moving. Every second counted, every step calculated. The silt swirled like a beast, something massive crawling around us, but we pressed forward, clinging to life, following the guideline that seemed the only thread connecting us to survival. We reached the last column of light, natural daylight. Everything seemed possible, but the terror had not left us. Blood began rising in the water, debris and destruction behind us, a reminder that the cave is a deadly trap. Every move must be careful. Until the last moment, Harris did not appear, had not arrived, yet we knew the cave held its secrets, and any misstep could be the last. I reached the deepest, darkest part of the cave, the water black as night, the pressure on my body increasing with every step, as if the stones themselves were trying to crush me. The survivor was behind me, body heavy, limp, every muscle exhausted, every movement dangerous, but there was no stopping, no turning back. This was not just diving, but a journey into hell beneath the earth. Every moment filled with terror and fear of the unknown surrounding us. I felt something brush my shoulders suddenly. Not Leon, not Harris, a cold hand playing with us, disappearing into the darkness before I could see it. The guideline ahead seemed the only rope between life and death. Every second of delay or error could be the last. We entered a larger chamber, water churning in every corner, each bubble bursting like a muffled scream from an underground hell. I saw fresh marks on the walls, repeated gouges, as if something was dragging divers and leaving clear signs of terror. The survivor trembled, struggling, every move stirring the silt, each step extremely difficult. No natural currents. Every movement in the water shifted oddly, as if something alive was watching us, controlling the environment. Faint knocking echoed from below. Regular steps, deep resonance filling the chamber. I felt something larger moving beneath us. Blood began mixing with the water, a clear warning that danger was very close. Everything around us alive and breathing with us. Not just a rescue, but a direct confrontation with death and darkness. Every second counted, every breath measured, every move calculated. I felt movement behind me. Turned quickly, saw only darkness, a pale figure sliding swiftly between the rocks, faster than any diver. The survivor emitted muffled screams, bubbles rising from his mouth, body limp yet still resisting. Every moment a fight for survival. I carried the body slowly, each step calculated to avoid stirring the silt, each movement increasing the pressure around us. This was no ordinary dive, but battle for survival. Every second a difference between life and death, each wrong move possibly fatal. A faint flash caught my eye. Leon, entering after me, ready to pull the corpse, while Harris stayed at the entrance watching. The guideline was our lifeline, every move calculated, every breath controlled, each step precise. I felt something move in the silt, a massive body crawling swiftly, yet we pressed on, clinging to life with all our strength. We reached a faint column of light, natural daylight. Everything seemed possible, yet terror had not left us. Blood began filling the water. Debris behind us, a reminder that the cave was a deadly trap. Everything here could kill. The survivor became a heavy burden, yet hope of survival drove us forward, each second expensive, every step precise. I felt something slide rapidly along the wall, a strange pale body moving faster than any diver, something inexplicable. The survivor tried to resist but was weak, every move sending silt into thick whirlpools, every second determining our fate. We moved toward the passage, each step like warfare, every breath controlled, every move precise, as if we were human machines. I saw a faint flash again, Leon, ready to assist, everything calculated, each step measured, every breath calculated. The survivor was a dead weight in my hands, yet hope kept us moving, each second costly, every step meticulous. The silt moved like a beast, something massive crawling around us, yet we pressed on, clinging to life, the guideline our only connection to the outside. We reached the final column of light, natural daylight. Everything seemed possible, yet terror had not left us. Blood rose in the water, debris behind. Constant reminder the cave was a deadly trap. Each misstep could be the last. Until the final moment, Harris did not appear, yet he remained deep within the cave, knowing its secrets, and we knew he might never emerge. We finally emerged from the depths of the cave, a mixture of relief and terror. Every step toward the surface was tense. Every sound above seemed to test us. the blood still suspended in the water, the survivor in my hands, heavy, limp. Every breath reminded me of the danger we had passed. The surface was close, but the darkness still pressed, every move calculated, every step precise. No room for error. We reached the final column of light, daylight slowly piercing the water, each ray like a new life after hours of surrounding death. This was not just a rescue mission, but a fight for survival. Every second a test of endurance, of fear, of terror, every lost breath. I saw Leon at the entrance, his body covered in deep scratches, mask half stained with water, but he was alive, signaling the path was relatively safe. The survivor in my hands. Every step toward the light felt like survival. Painful yet real, every breath precious, every move life or death. Everything behind us was full of blood and silt. The sounds, the echoes, all reminding us of what we face inside. We reached the edge, pressed the last rope, relief mixed with fear, knowing any mistake could be the end. I held the survivor tightly. Each step toward fresh air felt like a dream. Every breath a sign of life after hours of underground terror. The water began to recede around us, silt and blood dispersing. Everything returned to surface calm. Yet the images lingered in my mind. I saw something move in the darkness again, massive, fast, but it retreated inward as if observing us, letting us exit relatively unharmed. We finally reached the surface, natural air filling our lungs. Everything seemed normal, but it wasn't. Everything had changed after that night. The survivor in my hands, body broken, blood staining everything yet alive, and I knew such missions might never end the same way. No other bodies were on the surface. Harris did not emerge, vanish inside the cave, officially missing unofficially. I know something greater than mere absence. Birds sang in the morning. The sun rose, but the cave, the darkness, the blood, remained engraved in my mind, unerasable. The entrance was secured, markers placed on every column connected to the limestone system, warnings clear, but no one knew the full truth. The rescue mission became part of my life, yet something deep in the cave continues to haunt my memory. Something alive, unforgettable. Every deep gouge, every strange current, every unexplainable knocking in the rocks, all remind me that there's more than just water and stone. The blood and corpses tell the story. The deadly trap, the mysterious creature, the torn survivor. Everything became part of my life. Something I know and cannot forget. Even years later, I see in my dreams of black water, the silt and the last glimmer of light above, everything mingled with terror and survival. The survivor in my hands, Leon at the edge, Harris missing. Everything remains incomplete, all reminding me of the unknown hidden inside the cave. The surface ahead, but the images behind, everything real, everything terrifying, everything teaching that there are limits never to be crossed. The blood remains in my memory, every movement, every sound, all engraved in my mind. The cave never let us go and never will. This story is not just a rescue mission. It is a lesson in terror, in life and death, in fear leaving a lasting mark. Even after survival, I know the cave still exists, breathing.